Chapter 654, Bounty. Louis Barry is back again. Camus's forehead twitched at the mention of the straw hat guy. Since encountering the adventurer, his life had taken a tumultuous turn. First, he had captured the murderer in a serial killing case, then he unearthed clues related to a 4-year-old case. Subsequently, the suspect had emerged, attempting to harm him and Colombo, throwing the patrol team into chaos. And now, Louis Barry was making another appearance. Camus felt the weight on his chest, and his heart raced. Where is Louis Barry? Riza was already familiar with Camus's account. The patrol team member who had brought the report hastily answered, sitting in the hall. Riza nodded, and he and Camus left the office, descending the stairs. As they walked, Camus gradually snapped out of his daze. He recalled Louis Barry's suspicions about Twanaku the previous day, how he had abandoned his theories without delving into specifics, and how the adventurer had sought him out early in the morning, hoping to gather information indirectly. Shortly after Colombo handed over Twanaku's information, the latter had been attacked, leading to a fierce battle. Did Louis Barry employ such a cautious inquiry to avoid triggering the devil's danger premonition? Was buying information from Colombo a trap targeting Twanaku? No, hadn't Twanaku sensed the corresponding danger? He could only sense it a minute or two in advance, and would it be too late by the time he discovered it? As a former public security officer and now an interrogator, Camus swiftly made connections and speculations. He believed that Louis Barry had likely identified Twanaku after learning about his preference for sugarless Fermo coffee. He hinted at suspicions regarding the police headquarters, but refrained from going into specifics, fearing that Twanaku might foresee danger. As for how Louis Barry set a trap for Twanaku without detection, Camus couldn't puzzle it out for now. Furthermore, he suspected that Louis Barry's operation hadn't been entirely successful. There were no signs from the Matani import and export shop indicating Twanaku's demise. This was a Sequence 5 Desire Apostle, wielding the power of a Sequence 5 Wraith. Unless a demigod personally intervened, they might require 2 or 3 battle teams of mid-sequence Beyonders from pathways like Sun and Warrior to handle him. Alternatively, they needed to mobilize Beyonders at the level of a Sequence 5 Pirate Admiral, armed with potent mystical items. Soon, Camus and Riza spotted Louis Barry seated on the sofa in the hall's guest area, his golden straw hat standing out in the sunlight. "Monsieur Louis Barry, what brings you here again?" Camus inquired in deep intention. Louis Barry gave Camus a deep look before smiling and addressing Riza in fluent Dutanese. "I'm here to collect the bounty." As he spoke, he retrieved Twanaku's head from his traveler's bag. Camus and Riza observed the blood-stained face, the head with the broken horn, the vacant eyes, and the gruesome wound on the bridge of the nose, along with 10 to 20 deep cuts. Despite the severe damage, Camus, a former public security officer, recognized the owner at a glance. Twanaku Tupian. He succeeded. Had he truly set a trap for a Desire Apostle and managed to defeat him? Camus's gaze shifted up, scrutinizing Louis Barry, a young man with the title of a great adventurer in the Fog Sea. Such strength could rival any pirate admiral in the 5 seas. Of course, this assessment applied only to individual abilities, excluding the subordinates of pirate admirals. Riza silently ascertained from a spiritual level. He turned to Camus and asked in Dutanese, "Is it Twanaku?" "Yes," Camus confirmed, sighing inwardly. The battle between Twanaku and Louis Barry had been fierce, resulting in his tragic demise. Not only were his eyes absent, but he was also covered in wounds, displaying signs of devilification. Riza looked at Lumian and pondered for a moment before speaking in Dutanese. "I wonder if you've seen Twanaku's wanted poster. The bounty is only 70,000 Veraldor." Back then, the bounty was set based on the criteria of a serial killer. It was only increased by 20,000 because this particular serial killer targeted Beyonders. Lumian barely understood and switched to Intision with a smile. "If I wait 2 days to collect the bounty, will I be able to get more?" Upon hearing this, Camus pondered for a moment and realized the validity of the statement. In 2 days, their wanted posters would depict Desire Apostle and Wraith Twanaku, who had caused the deaths of several members of the patrol team, not the serial killer from the past. Of course, with Matani's financial resources, it was impossible to significantly raise the bounty. At most, they could double it and report the danger to the Church of Earth Mother, the Eternal Blazing Sun Church, and other official organizations in the northern continent to see if they would be willing to increase the bounty. After Camus translated Lumien's words into Deutanese, Riza remained silent, unsure of how to respond. For the patrol team, 70,000 to 80,000 Vril d'Or was a substantial sum. Without waiting for a response, Lumien added with a smile, "But there's no need to add to the bounty. Just fulfill 2 of my requests. 2 simple ones." "What are they?" Riza asked in a deep voice after hearing Camus's translation. Lumien chuckled in response, stating, "Firstly, I want to see all the dossiers related to Tizimo Town. Secondly, I'm very curious about Twanaku's card and want to take a look. Of course, I'll just take a look." "You want to investigate last year's incident in Tizimo Town. Isn't your sole purpose in Port Pylos to find Twanaku?" Camus asked, puzzled. Lumien chuckled. "Need I remind you, Twanaku's hometown is Tizimo Town." Camus suddenly felt that the matter with Twanaku wouldn't conclude with the other party's death. There were still many secrets hidden behind it. Louis Barry had mentioned this from the beginning. After translating their conversation for Riza, Camus sensed that the patrol team's previous investigation of the Tizimo Town incident might have concluded too hastily. Eyeing Louis Barry, who had successfully taken down a Desire Apostle wielding wraith powers, the chilly Riza fell silent for a few seconds before uttering, "Who tasked you with looking into Twanaku?" Without giving a direct response, Lumien inquired, "Did he declare himself a member of the Temperance faction, a follower of the Fool?" "It's not a self-proclamation. We verified it," Riza confidently replied after hearing Camus's translation. As anticipated, just making confirmation, Lumien stood up for the Church of the Fool, stating, "Traitors can surface in any organization, and there'll be individuals with hidden agendas attempting to infiltrate." "That's indeed our problem," Camus sincerely concluded. "We shouldn't solely rely on the organization they're affiliated with to determine a person's character or whether they can be recruited. We also need to observe their words and actions." After careful consideration, Riza agreed to Lumien's request. While assigning another patrol team member to aid Lumien in the process and collect the bounty, he instructed Camus to show Lumien the poker card. In the cold and silent underground corridor, Camus gazed at Lumien and cautiously asked, "What are you investigating?" This had already led to the death of a sequence 5 Desire Apostle. Lumien emitted a soft chuckle. "It's dangerous to know too much." Camus fell silent, wisely choosing not to inquire further, drawing from past experiences. As Lumien advanced, he casually asked, "How many members of the patrol team perished this time?" 4, all under Twanaku's control. Camus gave a self-deprecating smile. "We'll be recruiting new members before the end of the year. They're fortunate. Those with suitable pathways don't have to worry about subsequent sequence potions. If they aren't from the correct pathways, they can use sealed artifacts." This was how the resources of an official organization gradually accumulated. Lumien nodded slightly. "How's Kolobo?" Camus's smile grew more relaxed. "He's fine, he's almost healed." As they conversed, they arrived at a room adorned with cold bones. A metallic poker card lay on the table in the middle. "Be careful, it will burrow into your body and control you like a wraith," Camus warned. Lumien nodded slightly and approached, reaching out for the card with the 10 of spades on its face. A bone-like sensation entered his mind, accompanied by a chilling cold. Lumien's right hand quickly became encased in a layer of frost. The frost rapidly crystallized and extended towards his arm. Simultaneously, the card's surface underwent a transformation, revealing a grayish-white joker. It rapidly etherealized, poised to merge with Lumien's body. Silently, Lumien's arm burst into brilliant white flames. With a swift flick of his palm, he accurately pressed his thumb onto the poker card that hadn't completely dissipated, right onto the Joker's face. The poker card fell into silence. Frost detached from Lumien's arm, descended to the ground, and melted into water. Zombies Frost, Wraith's possession. This is really a mystical item from the prisoner pathway. Lumion swiftly made a basic assessment. However, the transformation abilities displayed by the poker cards didn't align with his understanding of the prisoner pathway. Instead, they resembled superficial applications of a faceless. Could it be corruption brought about by the celestial worthy? Also, when the Temperance faction provides resources, it's impossible to directly give Wraith. They start from low sequences and work their way up. Did this poker card strengthen time and time again? Does Hisoka have a permanent artisan collaborator? Lumion withdrew his gaze from the poker card and slowly retreated to Camus's side. I'm done, he thought for a moment and said, be careful when using this item. Camus nodded. We'll treat it as a sealed artifact rather than a mystical item. Upon returning to the surface, Camus gathered all the dossiers related to Tizimo Town. Lumion sorted through the items and picked up one of them.